Hey everyone. So I'm betting some of you out there are thinking about starting a business, but
Mm-hmm.
got to keep it real with the budget, right?
Budget's always a factor.
Exactly. And that's where this article we found comes in. It's called 20 Businesses. You can start with $1,000. I mean, that's pretty enticing, right?
$1,000, that's doable.
Totally. And we're not just skimming the surface here. We're going to hit all 20, get into the details.
Yeah, and what's cool is this isn't just like a random list. It actually gets into the strategy behind each idea. Whether you're already running businesses or this is your first rodeo.
Love that first rodeo.
Yeah.
Okay, so they kick things off with what they call the classics, right? Photography, writing, personal training, house cleaning.
The old reliables.
Kinda, but they make a good point about how these benefit from low overhead to start.
Yeah, you're not sinking a ton of cash up front, which is great.
But then they hit you with the BUT.
Yeah.
You got to market yourself right, find your niche, or you'll just get lost in the crowd.
Competition's fierce out there.
That makes sense. They even use personal training as an example. Yeah, you could work at a gym, pay their fees, or
Or
go all in on building your own home studio setup, become the local guru.
find your angle.
Exactly. Speaking of angles, how about auto detailing? They say you can get equipped for under $500.
Whoa, tempting, right?
Super tempting. But then
Uh,
you got to think permits, licenses. Is it even legal where I live to just set up shop?
That's where that $99 service they mention is genius. Get your legal ducks in a row.
Seriously, a little due diligence can save you major headaches down the road.
Hmm.
Okay, shifting gears a bit, the article calls this next section the helping economy, which honestly I feel like resonates so much these days.
People are busy. People need help.
It's true.
Yeah.
So we've got senior care, virtual assisting, tutoring,
All tapping into trends, really. Aging population, more remote work.
creating demand.
Hmm.
And what I like is they don't just say be a cooter. They mention Upwork, which I always thought was just for finding gigs.
It's more than that.
Apparently you can get training through it and then find clients. Smart.
Yeah, it streamlines things. Okay, but now we're getting to the fun stuff. Passion projects, turning into businesses.
Ooh, this is my jam. YouTuber, TikToker, hosting online workshops, blogging, being an artisan.
All sounds dreamy, right? But gotta be real, lid barrier to entry means everyone's trying it.
So true. They even say, yeah, you can film YouTube videos on your phone these days, but content strategy is king.
Oh.
That's where most people trip up, apparently.
Content, consistency, all that good stuff.
Okay, brace yourself for some serious why didn't I think of that moments, because this next group is wild. Wedding planner, personal chef, dog walker or pet sitter, even e-commerce reselling.
Eclectic mix.
Right, and each one has layers to it. The article points out wedding planning isn't just about being good at Pinterest.
Oh, so much more to
You
it.
got to have those vendor connections, the best florist, the photographer who knows all the right angles,
It's a business, not just a hobby.
and personal chef, same thing.
Yeah.
Sure, you got to cook well, but
But online presence is everything these days. How are people going to find you?
you're making me hungry and making me rethink my whole business plan.
That's the point. Oh, and they mention how all the pandemic pet adoptions
Yeah, everyone got a puppy.
could mean big bucks for dog walkers, sitters. Is that a trend that's here to stay, I think?
Interesting. Okay, last cluster for this round service-based skill-focused stuff. Landscaping, painting,
Yeah.
and they kind of lump artisans in there again.
Stuff people always need.
Practical, right. And I bet a lot of folks listening already have some of these skills.
Yeah, maybe they haven't thought about it as a business, though.
That's the beauty of this article. And they drop little gems of advice, too, like painters should network with builders.
Smart, right. Get in on the ground floor of new projects.
My mind is blown. But we're just scratching the surface here. Stick with us for part 2, where we dig even deeper.
Much more to come. And that's what I love about lists like this thing. It get you thinking.
Yeah.
Oh, I never thought about that as a business.
Right. Some of these I wouldn't have even considered. Consultant, for example. It seems so vague.
Vague, but versatile. That's the beauty of it. It's about taking what you already know, what you're good at.
And turning that into a service. We all have those things our friends bug us about, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're so good at organizing or whatever.
Exactly. What are you the go-to person for in your circle? Chances are someone out there will pay you for that knowledge.
Yeah.
Think about it. What questions do people always ask you?
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
My friends are always asking for website advice. Maybe I should be a marketing consultant.
There you go. And the beauty of consulting, often you can do it remotely.
Oh, huge plus these days.
Huge. And it's not just finance and tech, like people think. The article mentions sustainability, pet grooming.
Pet grooming consultant. I'm kind of intrigued now.
See, it's about finding your niche, that's all. All right, speaking of niches that seem to be everywhere now,
Eh.
social media manager, is this really a job everyone needs?
Seems like it. Every business has a Facebook page, Instagram.
It's non-negotiable these days, but not everyone's good at it. That's where the manager comes in. The article mentions Hootsuite for scheduling posts, but
There's got to be more to it than that, right?
oh yeah. It's understanding algorithms, creating content that actually works.
Wait, algorithms? I thought it was just like posting pretty pictures.
Nope. A good manager's analyzing data, tweaking their strategy all the time because social media changes constantly.
Sounds kind of intense.
It is. It's a skill set for sure. Okay, confession time. That wedding planner idea is speaking to me. Helping couples plan their big day. Sounds romantic.
Right. But the article brings up a good point. It's not all about, like, good taste and being organized. The really important thing is,
Let me guess, vendor connections.
nailed it. Knowing the best florist, the photographer who gets those magical shots,
You become the connector, the curator of their dream team.
and probably negotiating contracts, managing budgets. It's more than meets the eye.
Oh yeah, definitely business, not just playing with pretty flowers. Speaking of food, personal chef, another one that sounds amazing.
I love to cook. Imagine making delicious meals for busy families or catering those fancy dinner parties.
It's a lifestyle for sure. But just like with the wedding planner, having the skills is one thing.
Got to get the word out.
Exactly. The article emphasizes marketing, online presence. Are you the vegan guru? The comfort food king? Gotta figure that out.
Okay, random thought. I'm actually pretty good at cleaning. Could I make a business out of that?
Hey, don't knock it. Good cleaners are always in demand, especially now with so many people working from home. And like the article says, startup costs are low.
But it's more than just buying supplies, right?
Right. Are you reliable, detail-oriented? Can you manage your time effectively? Clients care about that stuff.
Makes sense.
Hmm.
I'm noticing a theme here. No matter how simple an idea seems, there's always this whole other layer of, like, business know-how you need.
It's not just about the passion, it's running the show behind the scenes too. Speaking of which, tutoring. The article mentions this online platform, OutSchool.
Outschool. What's that?
It's blowing up, not just one-on-one tutoring anymore. You can create whole online courses, reach a global audience.
Whoa, hold on. So it's not just, like, math and English.
Nope. Cooking, coding, creative writing, anything you can teach, basically. Share your passion, people will pay to learn.
That's kind of wild. Like, you could be a coding expert in, I don't know, Iowa.
Teaching kids in India, it's amazing. And you can scale it up too. Start small, maybe build your own online academy eventually.
The possibilities. Okay, let's be honest. Who hasn't dreamed of being a YouTube or TikTok star? The article makes it sound so easy. Just pick up your phone, start filming.
If only it were that simple. They do caution about the competition being crazy, though.
Yeah, everyone's trying to go viral these days.
Exactly. You need that killer content strategy. You got to stand out from the crowd, be consistent.
So more than just being charismatic on camera, huh?
Way more. You're building a brand, engaging your audience, figuring out how to make money from it all. Sponsorships, your own products, you name it.
It's a whole business, like you said before. Speaking of the business side of things, this whole permits and licenses thing keeps coming up in the article.
It's important. Can't just wing it and hope for the best. Remember that $99 service for license research?
Worth its weight in gold. Okay, back to the ideas. What about hosting online workshops? Seems like a good way to share knowledge, connect with people.
It's huge right now. Platforms like Zoom and Meta make it easy to set up. Meta even has ways to, like, charge for your workshops.
Oh, cool. So I could teach, like, a photography workshop on Zoom.
You could. Just got to make sure you're following their rules, all that good stuff.
Makes sense. Okay, gotta ask, is blogging still a viable business in 2025?
It's a tough one. Lots of competition. But the article's right. If you find your niche, develop a good writing style, provide real value to your readers,
You can still make it work.
potentially. They talk about ads, affiliate marketing, even selling your own stuff through your blog.
So you're like a content creator. A&D, an entrepreneur, basically. Okay, for all the animal lovers out there, dog walking and pet sitting. Seems like a no-brainer with all those pandemic pups running around.
It's a good time to be in the pet care business. And yeah, low startup costs, like the article says, leashes, poop bags, good walking shoes. You're set.
But surely there's more to it than that.
Of course. Responsibility is huge. Gotta genuinely care for those furry clients. The article even mentions joining professional organizations like the National Association of Professional Pet Sitters.
Wow, so there are, like, legit associations for this stuff.
There are. It shows you're serious, that you care about best practices. Plus, you can connect with other pros, learn the ropes.
Good point. They also mentioned this website, rover.com, for finding clients, booking walks.
Technology making things easier, love to see it. All right, ready for something a bit different? E-commerce reselling. It's like the ultimate treasure hunt.
Okay, you've got my attention. What is that exactly?
You find undervalued items, thrift stores, garage sales, online marketplaces. Then you resell them for a profit on eBay, Amazon, places like that.
So it's about having a good eye, knowing what's worth something, and knowing how to sell it.
Exactly. Understanding pricing, knowing your market. And don't forget to competition. Lots of resellers out there. Got to stand out somehow.
Sounds like a hustle, but a fun one. Okay, back down to earth a bit. Landscaping, lawn care. Seems like those services will always be in demand.
They will. People want pretty yards, but don't always have the time to deal with it themselves. The article is right. You can start small and scale up.
So I don't need like a fleet of lawnmowers to get started.
Nope. Start with the essentials. Build up your equipment as you get more clients. Just keep in mind, landscaping can be seasonal. Depends where you live, right?
True, true. Okay, last one on our list. Painting. It's a bit straightforward.
It can be. Low startup costs, consistent demand. But here's a smart tip from the article. Network with builders, contractors.
Oh, clever. Get in on those new construction projects, renovations.
Exactly. Build those relationships and work will come to you. It's all about thinking strategically.
Man, we've covered a lot of ground. I'm feeling inspired, but also a bit overwhelmed. So much to think about.
That's the fun part. And remember, it's just the beginning. We've planted the seeds. Now it's up to you to take those ideas and run with them.
All right, we're back, and I gotta say, my head is spinning with all these business ideas. So inspiring.
Right. What really stood out to me is you don't need some crazy amount of money to get started.
That's what the article hammered home. It's about passion, being smart with your resources.
A little bit of hustle goes a long way.
Totally. But I bet some people listening are like, okay, 20 ideas, where do I even begin?
It's overwhelming, for sure. So first things first, got to look inward. What are you passionate about? What are you naturally good at?
Yeah, what are your strengths?
Yeah.
What problems do you see in the world that you're like, I could solve that?
Exactly. Finding that sweet spot where your talents and interests align, that's where the magic happens.
But what if you're passionate about, like, a million things? How do you narrow it down?
That's where the practical side comes in. Got to look at the market. Is there a demand for what you're offering?
Because passion's great, but if nobody's whying what you're selling.
It's going to be tough to make it a business, right? Passion's the fuel, but market demand is the engine.
Love that analogy. And it's okay to start small, right? You don't need to have this huge, flashy launch.
Absolutely not. In fact, starting small can be a huge EE advantage. Less risk, you can test the waters, figure things out as you go.
Entrepreneurship's a journey, not a destination. Got to embrace the ups and downs.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And speaking of journeys, remember, you don't have to do this alone.
So true. There are tons of resources out there for new business owners.
Mentorship programs, online communities, even podcasts like ours can give you some guidance.
Oh, and speaking of resources, that article with all 20 business ideas, we'll link to that in the show notes.
Go back, revisit the ones that spoke to you, do some more research.
That's your homework assignment, folks.
And most importantly, take action. Dreaming about starting a business is one thing. Actually doing it is what separates the dreamers from the doers.
It's time to get out there and make your mark on the world.
We believe in you.
That's it for this deep dive, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And remember, we're cheering you on every step of the way. Until next time, stay inspired.